Hello and welcome to The Nest, the program that talks about parenting. My name is Cecilia Mweni. On today's show, we talk about understanding your child. Well, one of my favorite authors says that a child is born a person, and if the child is born a person, that means they have feelings and they can communicate. So how do you take cues from your child to get to understand what they're feeling at any given point? Well, joining me on today's show is yet another daddy. Yay! We'll start with introductions. Tell us your name and what you do.
Yeah, my name is Wahome Masharia, and I'm a businessman, and I'm a full-time parent.
Wow. Okay, by full-time? Oh, okay.
Of 3 kids, a boy who is 10 years, girl who is turning 7, and a boy who is 4.
Wow, congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
Well, understanding your child. I'm thinking with having children 10, 7, and 4. Was it a hard thing for you to get to know them, or did you just flow into the whole thing of parenting?
I would say parenting came, as much as I was prepared in the 9 months before my first kid. When the baby came, there's still those things that you ask yourself, what do we do? Mm-hmm. I remember we were agreeing with my wife when we got our firstborn, and in the morning we were to clean the baby, and we did not know where to start. Luckily, when I was getting into the room, mm-hmm. there was a chart there that was showing steps on how to clean the baby. Mm-hmm. And I would go read, and then I tell my wife, this is what we need to do. Mm-hmm. And it has been a learning experience since then. Mm-hmm. As in, sometimes you go as per you're seeing your child grow. Mm-hmm. And then came the second born. The second born was a twist because it was a girl. I had already known how to raise the boy for the 4 years that we were with him before the sister came. Now she came, and I have to learn again. How do you, even from the cleaning, from the playing. Yeah, the mother things are a little rough, but of course I can only be a boy. I know how to be one. So playing with a girl, sometimes I have to take a cue from my wife, who is not very playful, but sometimes I go overboard and play. Sometimes we get accidents, but we call them oops moments, and it's the learning experience for all of them. Yeah, then came our last born. He's so different. He's so different from when he came. Our the first two kids were normal delivery. This one decided to change how we knew how children come to the world, and it was a spinner. We went to hospital and were told the first time I was in an ambulance. In fact, the only time I've been in an ambulance, which was an emergency. And yeah, he came to the world via C-section, and he's just been different. As in, we have had complication with all of them, all of which are unique. You can't use experience of raising one to raise the other.
Okay, so let's talk about the communication from the child. Like for your firstborn, who was a boy, like how did you get to know what he wants at a certain given point, from when they were small to until when they get to 10?
The firstborn is very expressive. He would say what he wants. Okay, when at some point when we were raising them, the mother had to go for an assignment, and I was left with him for 3 months. And then even when he had dinner with the rest of the family, when daddy comes and is served, the boy would still come and want to eat with me. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there's someone who said, someone may think that we don't feed the kid. Maybe he just wanted to be with daddy, to do as daddy is doing. And even today, he would want my things. He would tell me, when I have a bicycle, hand me down these, because I'm now the man in the family. He just told the mother the other day that, my daddy likes sitting here when he's having his meal. And because today I'm the man, daddy is not home, I want to sit here. He would express himself. Of course, because I was a learning parent with him. Of course, there are things that I tried to do sometimes either became too hard on him, and I realized that probably being hard is not the right way. And listening to him more and trying to explain to him, I find it working for all of them, in terms of just what did he want to do. And sometimes I have to bend over backwards to show him that he has a voice, and the voice can be heard, and he can actually change the course of the way we were doing things. For the girl, let me say I'm weak on, I'm the weaker one here. I think I get manipulated. I think it's because she's a girl, or because I'm a daddy. I don't know who is where this comes in. Yeah, she, even when they want to daddy to buy ice cream, they rather send the girl to talk to daddy about the ice cream than the rest. I think they know the girl would brings home more conversions. If I talk now that I'm a businessman, if you want to daddy to buy into something, I think the girl would. And I don't know what there is. I just find myself being manipulated. So she would say what she wants, and she would say, look at you in the face. Sometimes it's hard to just say no, because the face that is looking at you is a face that would like, okay, I don't want to look a bad daddy. And sometimes, daddy, you didn't say sorry. And you're like, yeah, she's angry when you punished her, and she thinks she didn't deserve. She would say, yes, you did a mistake, but daddy, tell me sorry. You have not told me sorry. And sometimes, yeah, so for her, she would ask what she wants. Yeah, and for the younger one, still young, and I think he's, as I said, he's different. He would not say much, so I would provoke him, I would play with him, I would ask him, what do you want daddy to bring for you? It's hard for him mostly to go out there and tell you, bring me this. But when you ask him, he would give you what he wants you to bring. And of course, the girl gets to help him a lot, in terms of, say you want this, say you want this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm getting from you is that for the boys are different from the girls. So I'm wondering, where do you draw the line in terms of making sure there's a bit of discipline? Because what you're saying is like it's easy to get blackmailed by the girl, and for the boy it's a bit harder because you're a man, you can relate better the boys. So where do you draw that line of discipline with the girl?
It's funny you ask that question, because there's an instrument of punishment I use in the house, and for some reason she's 7, the girl, and I realized that I always use it as a threat to her. She had not gotten to, it was no longer working in terms of threatening and telling her, I'll cane you with this. And I told my wife someday, I think these threats, they're not deterrent anymore to her. I need to look for a chance to use it so that she remembers it. In terms of, I'm very firm, and in terms of getting on discipline issues, what was supposed to be done must be done, have to be done. But I'm very playful along, as in I don't execute my being firm. I have a lot of play in it, as in I would. But my wife is on the opposite. She is very tough. When she walks into the house, the entire mood changes, as in they know mom is home. There's a day I told her I need to go buy her coffee so that she reads from elsewhere, because I think children would need some fun now that she's in school. As in, she would really, So she's a little farmer. I'm the one who's more a little playful. But in terms of being firm in terms of what must be done, I think I still use the same stand. Okay, sorry, no. I am still weak with a girl, as I said.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say I use this. I try to use the same standards, but I know I'm harder on the boys.
Okay. So let's talk about your last born, maybe finally as you're winding up. He's not expressive as the rest.
Yes.
So when do you get to know when he's sad? When he wants something from you? When he's probably sick? How do you read? What cues do you get from him?
I think he's expressive on some other things, and some of them he's not. I think I would know. I would know if I try. When I come into the house, the first thing I do is play with them. So in terms of how responsive they are with the play, I know whether there is an issue with any one of them. Even when going in the morning, when they're taking breakfast, I would see how they're taking breakfast. I'm very good in feeding the kids, and I work with them in terms of mealtime, and I would know who has an issue at the point of having food in the. We have dinner together and we have breakfast together before they go to school. I drop them to school every day. So when we're having that, I would know who has an issue, and I would we'd use our different IQs with my wife to actually see, is it a real thing or do you think we are being manipulated? Sometimes the girl would say, the day she said she was sick, and I told the mother, I don't think she is.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so basically you're saying by spending more time with your children, then you get to learn them, so you get to understand them.
Yes.
Okay, so when you come back, we'll have an expert who will also help us in demystifying how to understand our children and probably shed more light on this topic.
All the time, reprimanding the child and not allowing the child actually to explore. So basically, they are making that child feel, shameful and guilt.
Welcome back to the show. Just before the break, we had our guest, Wahome, and now we're joined by another guest who is not new to the show, but I'll let her introduce herself.
My name is Margaret Mainge. I'm a counseling psychologist, and I'm situated at Thaume Estate, and our company is called Behavior Modification and Life Skills Consultancy.
Okay. You sound like the right person really for this show
because
of the whole issue about behavior modification and teaching life skills to our children. Well, Wahome is a parent of 3, and we're trying to figure out how do we get to understand our children. He's got 2 boys and a girl, and for him, understanding the boys is easier because he's a man. But for understanding the girls, a bit harder. How do we help him understand the girl better and not spoil the girl in the process of trying to parent? Yes.
Okay. I think what Wahome can do with his parenting skill is just to get much more knowledge, just to know that a child develops holistically. By that I mean their brain is growing, that's their mentality, also their social aspect, that is how do they relate with other people. Physically, we usually concentrate a lot about physical. We know that they're moving, they're smiling, but we tend to not to focus on the other aspects. So a child actually is growing in all aspects, and therefore parents need to be aware there are all those other aspects besides just the physical, the movements, and just know that they're also growing intellectually. Yeah, and the different stages of intellectual growth. Last week we spoke about when a child is between 1 and 3, in their first year. In their first year, they are looking for trust from the parents and the caregiver, and the parents can do that by responding to the child in a warm way and being there for them. And that way, a child is able to negotiate well and